Tesla right now could represent less than 10% of what they will in the future, which sounds absolutely crazy. But in this video, I'm going to break this down and explain exactly what I'm thinking here. And this will really help explain why some of us Tesla investors are just so excited about this company in the future and why we continue to accumulate shares, even though a lot of people are starting to get a bit worried about Tesla and thinking that actually, they've already seen the crazy growth that they're going to see. And from here on out, it could be a little bit stagnant. And as always, I invite you guys to leave your thoughts and opinions on this in the comments below. So to me, this all comes down to understanding that Tesla is one of these asymmetric investment opportunities. But it is really important that we practice and we appreciate the power of delayed gratification. And we are able to distinguish between short-term volatility, which of course we see a lot with a stock like Tesla, and long-term innovative vision. If you're a current Tesla shareholder, you are probably someone that already has strong belief in their long-term potential, far beyond their current state. One crucial thing that we must examine to understand all of this is the different Tesla S-curves. And they help to explain the different business stages that Tesla has in their future, and also helps us pinpoint where actually Tesla is right now compared to everything that they've got coming ahead of them. And I'm going to talk through them in just a second. But before that, let's define Tesla's mission, because honestly, everything Tesla does always comes back to this core mission that they have, and it underpins everything. Put simply, the mission of Tesla, and it has been from the start, is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. What they want to do is they want to help build a world that is powered by solar energy, running on batteries and transported by electric vehicles. That might be a little bit oversimplified, but you get the idea. That's what they're trying to get to. So here are the S-curves. And by the way, credit to Dave Lee. I think he was the original maker of this diagram. If you've never seen an S-curve before, basically what it is it's a graphical representation that is used very commonly to show a growth pattern, whereby it's an S-curve. It's a shape of an S, as you would write an S. And at the start of the S, so this part of the S here, it is showing very slow early adoption of something. So the adoption is very slow, the progress is very slow, and then it hits this curve in the S where you draw it going up. That's the rapid adoption. That's the fast growth where you have quick acceleration. And then gradually it hits the top of the S, and that's just showing maturation. That's showing saturation. And you can pretty much see an S-curve for any technology, any market, and any industry over time. But the thing about Tesla is that they don't just have one S-curve. You're not just looking at the production and the adoption of EVs. Actually, they have multiple S-curves. And these are the ones that we know about now. We could end up having more introduced to us as Tesla's lifetime goes on. The way I like to think about Tesla is actually they don't really act like other well-established mega cap companies. They are way more like a collection of small startups in the sense that they continue to push innovation, they continue to be agile, they take a lot of risk that maybe other more established companies wouldn't take, and actually Tesla probably doesn't need to take them, but it's in their nature. It's really important. So they are very different, in my opinion, to other big tech companies. Anyway, let's go back and look at these curves. So we can see EVs, FSD, Robotaxi, energy, and AI robots. And you can see that EVs are on the far left, and then Robotaxi, energy, and AI robots. That is that's on purpose. That's the succession that it will move through. Not necessarily will happen in that order at all. We could see this shift, and we probably already are actually seeing the shift, which we'll talk about in a minute. But you'll also notice that some of the curves are much larger than others. That again is deliberate. What it is showing us is that the total market penetration of some of these things and the growth potential of some of them compared to others is a lot larger. So for example, just looking here, we are just going by this S-curve, we are saying that energy, the energy segment of Tesla, has a lot more growth, is a lot bigger in terms of its market penetration ability than the EV business, for example. And these aren't necessarily drawn to scale. Like, we're not saying the FSD and Robotaxi is double the size of EVs, but each successive S-curve, is meant to be larger than the previous. That's the idea. Now, I am someone that very much thinks that the EV business segment, Tesla's EV business, is going to be the most insignificant part of their entire business one day in the future. We're not there yet, but I very, very much think that by 2030, we will have a completely different picture in terms of the total enterprise value of each business segment and also the revenue coming in from each of the business segments. So right now, the EV segment is by far the largest. It is the one, energy is starting to really ramp up, but it is the one right now that is bringing in all of the money pretty much to Tesla. It's the biggest, it's the one that everyone knows Tesla for, etc., etc. But I think in the future, and not even that far in the future, I'm talking maybe, a few years even, I think it will be a completely different picture. I think energy will start to really come up. And it was, we had Tesla's Q4 earnings last night. I'm filming this on the 25th. That proved to us, we already kind of knew this from, previous quarters, but that proved to us that actually the energy sector is really, really growing. And I think that will demand more space in Tesla's total business pie, if you will, as time goes on. And then we've got Dojo. We've got Dojo as a service. We've got FSD. We've got FSD licensing. Other companies turning to Tesla and actually wanting the FSD from them. We've got Robotaxi. We've got Optimus Robot. All of those things that I've just mentioned, I think have the potential to be way bigger than the EV business. But we're not there yet. We're not. We're not. And it would be silly to say that we are. And although short term, with just the macro and everything, with margins falling due to price cuts, due to interest rates, they've not had a great time. And that was reflected in some of the earnings that came out last night or yesterday. But even so, in the difficult macro situation, the EV business is still actually, like, we have to give Tesla some credit. In the difficult times, the EV business is still performing extremely well. Think about this. They still have the most popular car. And that's not just the most popular EV. That's the most popular car, like, period. They are expanding rapidly. Their cost of goods sold and battery costs are coming down. Like, all things that are helping actually expand Tesla's EV portion of their business. And we know that it's not just those things I've just mentioned. It's also that they're expanding into new markets. They're selling more vehicles. They're releasing more products. The Cybertruck, that's a massive, massive release that happened in 2023. The list goes on. However, it would also be naive of me to sit and say that we're there. Everyone is driving an EV and everyone is happy, because we're not. There is a lot of education left, and I think Tesla actually acknowledged this on the earnings call last night. There is a lot of education that needs to happen, and there is a lot of, they need to come down in cost so that they're very affordable. And that's interesting because of the mass affordable vehicle 2025, later 2025 release. I'm going to do a whole video about the earnings. But anyway, the point is that there is still a long way to go. And not everyone right now, and I mean rightly so, I guess it's a personal decision. Not everyone right now is driving EVs, and not everyone wants an EV right now. However, more and more and more people are making the shift. And I think that will only continue. The trend will continue whereby, we do shift from ICE vehicles into EVs completely. So thinking about that S-curve for just the EV portion of the business, I think we are very much in the middle period of the S, where we are experiencing a rapid growth stage. But, and EV adoption is rapidly increasing, but we've not yet hit that market saturation and that plateau point. Whereas if we take the FSD Robotaxi section, we're not that far along yet. We are at a very, very early stage compared to the EV business. We've just recently had version 12 FSD released to some people. A very, very select amount of people outside of Tesla employees got version 12, and they've been testing it. Holmar's catalog on YouTube and on X has been one of the people that have got it. Seen some videos, seen some reviews on it. It looks really, really good. And I think this is the biggest improvement that we've seen in an iteration. So from the previous version to version 12 FSD, it's just been released to some people. Massive, massive improvement. And it's removed thousands of lines of rule-based code. They are now implementing a complete end-to-end approach to driving. And we learned on the call yesterday as well that actually this will now be rolled out to people in North America in the upcoming few weeks. So I think that demonstrates to us that actually it is really good, and it has made significant improvements in terms of reliability, safety, performance, that it's ready to roll out to the mass general public. So FSD and a Robotaxi fleet, good progress, but not quite here yet. Having said that, I don't think it's going to be that a robotaxi fleet happens years and years and years after FSD. I think they're going to happen kind of simultaneously, like once FSD has been solved and there is like literally a mass fleet waiting. That makes the most sense. But anyway, it is expected, and this is, I think ARK Invest have said this, that the FSD robotaxi portion of Tesla will actually end up accounting for 67% of Tesla's entire enterprise value by 2027, so not even that far away, and it will account for 44% of their total revenue in 2027. And also the margins are expected to be a lot better than the EV business segment, but of course this gross profit margin won't be reached until full autonomy is there. And remember as well, at some point in the future, we will see other automakers come into Tesla and actually licensing their FSD, because we've already seen that with the North American charging standard, everyone making the swap. And Elon Musk himself said on the call yesterday that he expects this to happen. Everyone is going to want what Tesla has because they have the advantage so strongly. They have the advantage in this area. And it could be that you think that Optimus will happen before full self-driving. It could be that you think the energy sector will fully ramp up before full self-driving. Like whatever way round you think these maturation S-curves, these S-curves and maturation is going to happen, not too important. I just think the important thing is that Tesla is actively working on all of them and they are all being developed. So when we think about Tesla's future, we have legit reason to be very, very excited. And for a long time, you know, a lot of people were saying, how can you be excited about energy? How can you be excited about the bot full self-driving? Because we've not seen any proof that it's happening. Fair enough. You know, we just kind of had a prediction, we had some words to go by, but now I think it's very clear that we are seeing the proof. We are seeing what they're actually doing because they are showing us videos, they're showing us, you know, they're rolling it out to a select number of people who are able to review it fairly, etc., etc. So we are very much now able to have a legit reason to be excited for their future. That's how I feel anyway. I keep going off track, but coming back to these S-curves, I think the overall message of this image that you're seeing is to show that Tesla is not a single product company. They're not. They're not just a car company and they're not just a single product company. They actually have multiple growth trajectories. That's always a hard word to say. They have multiple growth trajectories and each of them are at different stages. And you don't really have to view them as distinct S-curves because actually as one product line matures, it kind of feeds into another emerges, and this kind of creates a continuous cycle of growth and innovation. Sure, they all happen kind of separately from each other, but there is a lot of overlap in terms of, you know, core things and core developments that they need for each other thing, if that makes sense. So my answer to people that say Tesla has already seen all the growth it will, they've had phenomenal stock price growth and, you know, they've done what they're going to do as a company and it's going to be a little bit dry, a little bit stagnant from here on out. My answer to that is yes, look at everything that Tesla has already done. Amazing. But actually, they've only really chiseled into a few, you know, a small percentage of what they're going to do. Think about their total journey and everything else that they have left that they're working on. They are nowhere near done as a company. In fact, they are like I said, they're acting more like a startup. They're only just, in my opinion, getting started on what they actually have to achieve. The EV section was the way that they did the next things that they're doing. Mind blowing. I get carried away and I don't want this video to be all about that. I actually now want to speak about Optimus. I've made a few videos on the Tesla bot Optimus in the past, and each time I make a new video talking about this, or each time I even sit down and research, it does blow my mind because it isn't like it's really hard to compare Optimus and what they're working on with this product to anything that's ever come. And it's completely, I hate keep using this word when I talk about Tesla, but it is difficult to really pick another word out of the air. It's revolutionary. And you can see here by these pictures, it's actually progressing really, really quickly. And I think it's happening a lot faster than people thought. It was only in September 2022 when they released the Bumblebee, version of this. And it was, a bit of a joke, kind of people were laughing at it. And then March 2023, Gen 1 looked pretty good. And now December 2023, Gen 2, it's really coming a long way very quickly. And you've probably already seen a recent video that Tesla shared whereby they had Optimus folding laundry. This was very recent. This came after the the video where Optimus was sorting Lego blocks. But anyway, it seems really trivial, and I think, you know, sure, it is trivial. Watching a video of a robot folding laundry, you're thinking, okay, great, this is really revolutionary, isn't it? But actually, it kind of is. Because what that shows us, Tesla investors, just general public, is the real world application of a humanoid robot, of a humanoid bot. Because not everyone in the general public can actually understand and relate to having a Tesla bot working in Tesla factories, producing Tesla vehicles, producing other bots, which we'll speak about in a minute. But actually everyone can relate to having a bot in your home doing repetitive and boring work that you don't want to do, you know, work that you want to outsource to free up more of your time. And I would say housework is probably on top of that list, and folding laundry, definitely. Who wants to sit and fold laundry? Like, it's, some people say it's therapeutic, I say it's boring. And also, I think it really highlighted the humanoid part. Like Tesla's Optimus is a humanoid robot. It appears like humans. It has the human form, an upright body, walking on two legs, it has fingers. This means, and this is really, really important, I think a lot of people overlook this, this means that it can blend, maybe not blend, into society. It can do the physical work that humans can do and that humans are optimized to do. It wouldn't be able to do all of the things that humans do if it was, you know, a robot on four legs that looked more like a dog. So the humanoid part is really important. We've all been concentrating on how the humanoid, how Tesla bot will actually fit in and replace human jobs as we know them now. But I think alongside that, it will come in and it will create more jobs, and it will do jobs that we don't even have humans doing at the moment. Elon actually replied to someone on X the other day saying that it took Tesla just 2 years to achieve what Boston Dynamics has achieved in 30 years. And remember as well that Optimus, Tesla's Optimus, and Boston Dynamics robot, they're very, very different. That it's hard to kind of compare because the Boston Dynamics robot is coded. It learns from its code. Well, it doesn't learn, it's coded to do certain things. So it takes engineers ages and ages and ages. Whereas with Optimus, it's very different in the sense that it's not doing things, it's not acting in the way it acts due to code, it's actually learning. And I've just got a screenshot here on my phone of something that Elon said on the earnings yesterday. So he said Optimus has the potential to far exceed the value of all other Tesla business lines combined. Cars are robots on wheels, Optimus is a robot on legs. This is how all those S-curves start fitting together. He says we will likely ship the first products next year. We will be updating the public every few months with what we have, but we need to focus on safety. It has the potential to be the most valuable product of any kind ever by far. The key focus is utility. Once it can do tasks, Tesla will start rolling it out. Now, saying that Optimus may be rolled out as early as next year, 2025, I mean, sure, I think it's possible. The hardware is definitely there. The software may be a little bit, you know, more progress needs to be made. I think 2025 is maybe a tad optimistic. Who am I to say? You know, I'm not in Tesla actually working on this day in, day out. Maybe what he means is 2025 will be the year that it actually gets rolled out in factories to start doing some really basic, useful work. Maybe that's what he means. Definitely won't be in the homes anytime soon. And having said all this, I think we are still, it's making good progress, right? But we are still quite a way from a functional product that Wall Street can actually look at and price in. Just going back to the video of Optimus folding a t-shirt. When I first watched it, I thought, great, utility, we're seeing a real world application. But then when I started reading what Elon was saying and what other people were saying, it turns out that that video of Optimus folding a t-shirt was actually teleoperated, meaning the bot was being controlled remotely. It was not acting 100% autonomously. The point in the video, I think, was to actually show the kind of things that the bot will be able to do on its own, and it shows how the hardware, you know, the actual build of the robot, how that has fine motor capabilities, especially the fingers, which is a massive, massive part of what humans do on a day-to-day in terms of work. And remember that they said that the bot will be able to thread a needle at some point, which I can't wait to see that. And once it's rolled out, new skills that are learnt by the Optimus bot can be put into your bot, if you will, by just a simple over-the-air software update. It doesn't mean that people are going to have to go out and buy a new model every time that there's a new skill that's been learnt or anything like that. Think about Tesla's over the air updates that they have now. Think about FSD, it's going to be the same sort of thing. And you saw earlier how the S-curve for AI robotics is by far the biggest, and I do think that this will be the single biggest driver to push Tesla towards being one of the, if not the most valuable companies in the world. Sure, they do have to do a lot of execution to get there. They're not there yet. We're in very, very, very early days, but this single-handedly has the potential to be a complete driver of the biggest growth in any company that we've ever seen. I'm actually starting to wonder if the bot will be rolled out to factories, not just Tesla factories, but other companies' factories, to do useful work before we see FSD. And that's just because of the regulations. You know, the regulations are so specific on autonomous driving, dependent on the market that you're actually rolling it out in. It's going to cause a lot of delays. It's going to be difficult. Whereas realistically, you could have a bot very, very soon in factories doing very basic but quite useful repetitive work, like, you know, moving a box from one area to another area on the factory floor. That isn't that risky to the general public, unlike driving. As long as you can turn the bots off very easily and they're, you know, detained to a certain area. And they can release them before they're perfect, because the whole point is that they learn as they go. Whereas you can't really release, in my opinion, you can't really release an autonomous vehicle, fully autonomous with no driver influence very easily, because, you know, without it being perfect, because that's quite dangerous, honestly. However, of course, the vehicles are just robots on wheels and Optimus is just robot on legs. And there's definitely overlap in the sense of everything that Tesla's already done with FSD in terms of learning about the physical world will be necessary for the bots, and they're learning from that. So I don't really view them necessarily as two distinct, completely separate products. They just have different uses. 2024, in my opinion, will be the biggest year for bot advancements and bot developments. And Elon has actually said again on X, you can get a lot of insight into Tesla by following Elon on X and looking at his replies. He said that he actually agrees that he could see 1 billion humanoid robots on Earth in the 2040s. Now, this seems mad, like really it does. But if you think deeply about this, it is possible. Now, the adoption and the rollout will be very, very dependent on the value that they create and the market potential that they actually have. But let's think about two things. Firstly, is there market potential for 1 billion robots? Well, if you think about every job that they could replace, everything from factory workers, manufacturing jobs, cleaning jobs, warehouse roles, construction roles, you know, performing tasks in hazardous environments, retail jobs, stacking shelves. I don't want to be here all day listing different jobs that they can do, but there are a lot of them. And not even, like I said earlier, not even jobs that we know about now. There will be new jobs opened just for the bot. And this is without having them in homes, which of course will create a whole new market for them and open way more potential. But also it's important to say that they are not in the position now, nor will they be in, you know, a good few years' time, in my opinion, where they can do any jobs that involve complex decision-making processes. So think about lawyers and people like that. And they're not going to be able to replace or do any real creative work either, in my opinion. Not right now, anyway. So I guess it's mainly labour roles that we need to consider. But remember, this is worldwide, and there are a lot of workers that fall into this category. So already the total addressable market, the TAM, is absolutely massive. But then again, not all businesses will look to buy one of these straight away. But I do think that those businesses that do get on this train and do purchase a Tesla bot will have the competitive advantage. Think about this from a pay point of view, a revenue point of view for that business, and also from a productivity standpoint. If you have a bot, you can have that bot working 24/7, excluding times that it needs maintenance or it needs to charge. You don't have to pay that bot a wage. Once you've purchased that bot, or you know, the money to rent it, whatever it may be, that's it. And maintenance. You don't need to pay it, you know, a bonus. You don't need to give it time off. You don't need to allow it to have annual leave, time off, I guess. You don't need to allow it to go to the dentist. I for sure hope that bots don't need to go to the dentist, because that changes everything and that gets kind of scary. You don't need to give it a bathroom break. You don't need to allow it to chat with colleagues. There's going to be so much time saving that comes with a bot that you can then use to actually make that bot do useful work. And you don't need to pay for healthcare insurance or anything like that. So actually, if it's a one-up fee of, let's say, $50,000 or whatever it may be for the bot, and it'll be more expensive initially and hopefully get cheaper over time, as with many things, that is going to be so much money saved compared to what they would have to pay for a worker plus everything else, plus the time that they're taking off. Factor all of that in, they are going to save a lot of money. So the return on investment should be absolutely fantastic, which means that those companies that are getting a lot of these bots early on will have the competitive advantage. And I just said that they will be more expensive at the start. Of course they will, and then as demand goes up and supply is able to keep up with that, the price will come down. But manufacturing realistically shouldn't be as difficult as it is for a car, because there are less parts, and also you think about how much Tesla's already learned in terms of their manufacturing processes and optimizing that. So I think by the time they come to mass produce them, you know, scaling it up will be difficult, it always is, but just thinking about producing 1 unit of a bot compared to 1 unit of an EV, it should in theory be a lot cheaper and a lot easier. But I guess time will tell that, and I'm not a manufacturing expert. And the fun thing is here is that, you know, when you produce an EV, you're producing an EV and then you produce another EV and another EV, and your manufacturing lines are efficient, etc. But with a bot, you produce a bot, then you get that bot to produce a bot. Then you get those bots to produce bots. And it just expands. When it comes to rolling out bots in the homes, I don't think Tesla will necessarily sell them to people. I think it will be more of a rent-a-bot type situation. You know, rent a bot to do your laundry, rent a bot for 24 hours, however they want to do it. Because Tesla won't want to give up the ultimate control and ownership, because they don't know who they're giving a bot to. So that I think they're always going to want to make sure that they have the ability at any time to recall that bot, to turn it off, to do whatever they need to do. Because obviously these things can be quite powerful if they get into the wrong hands. And this all ties back to this whole thing that's happening right now about Elon Musk's compensation plan. Ultimately, what he wants to make sure is that he has enough voting power so that he can make sure this technology that they are advancing quickly does not fall into the wrong hands. But that's a video for another day. So it's very clear that businesses will want a bot, and it's very clear why they want it and the benefit that they will see. But will average everyday people like myself, will we want bots? Well, actually, there's a lot of reason that we will. We will want bots to do the things that help us free up time. And remember, you know, housework and stuff like that. Remember that time is the most valuable asset in the world. The most precious and most valuable asset that you can ever have. And I believe a lot of people would spend money to buy their time back. I know I would. I'm going to leave it here because I've been rambling for a while. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel for more, and leave your comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon with another video.